Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this section, we'll discuss about brachial artery. So we'll discuss the brachial artery under the following headings: the introduction, variations, relations in the arm and in the cubital fossa, branches, then the surface marking and the clinical importance. So first we'll see what's the introduction to the brachial artery. So brachial artery is a continuation of axillary artery at the lower border of teres major muscle, and it terminates at the level of neck of radius into radial and ulnar arteries. Now we'll see whether there are any variations in the brachial artery. So brachial artery can have a high division into 2 or 3 branches, and also in some cases brachial artery can be absent. However, in those cases, the radial and ulnar artery can arise directly from the axillary artery. So, those are the main 2 variations of brachial artery. Now, we'll see the relations of the brachial artery. First, the relations in the arm. Always, the brachial artery is accompanied by a vein known as venae comitans. That is, these are brachial veins. Venae comitans. So these are a set of veins that accompanies arteries. It goes in close relationship to the artery because the pulsation of the artery will help in venous return and also helps in the temperature regulation. So some set of veins go very close to arteries. So such kind of vein, that is venae comitans of the brachial artery, is known as brachial veins. Now we'll see what are the relations anteriorly, posteriorly, medially and laterally. Anteriorly, the brachial artery is superficial, that is, it is easily accessible since it is covered just by the skin and the superficial fascia. And you can see anteriorly, the median nerve crosses the brachial artery in the middle of the arm from the lateral to the medial aspect. Whereas posteriorly, the relations are from above downwards: long head of triceps, medial head of triceps, coracobrachialis and brachialis muscles. And you can see the level of insertion of coracobrachialis at the middle of the shaft of humerus is a site where you can apply pressure by squeezing the artery against the shaft of humerus. In cases of conditions like if there is any bleeding in the artery distal to the brachial artery, you can apply pressure at this region by compressing the brachial artery against the shaft of humerus. That is an applied importance of that region. Now you can see here, medially it is related to the ulnar nerve in the upper part, whereas in the lower part it is related to the median nerve because the median nerve crosses it from lateral to medial side. So in the distal region it is related to the median nerve. And also basic vein is related medially. Whereas laterally, in the upper part median nerve is related, whereas in the lower part tendon of biceps brachiae is related to the brachial artery. Now we'll see what are the relations in the cubital fossa. We have already discussed cubital fossa in a previous class. The relations in the cubital fossa from medial to lateral are remembered by a mnemonic MBBR, that is median nerve, brachial artery, tendon of biceps brachiae and radial nerve. So you can see the medianmost relation is median nerve. So in the cubital fossa, brachial artery is medially related to the median nerve, whereas laterally it is related to the tendon of biceps brachiae. And posteriorly it is related to brachialis because brachialis forms one of the floors of the cubital fossa, and above, that is anteriorly, it is related to median cubital vein which is separated by the bicipital aponeurosis. So that's all about the relations of the brachial artery. Now we'll see what are the branches of the brachial artery. The main branch is the profunda brachiae. The first and the main branch is the profunda brachiae, and this branch is the largest and the first branch, and it arises just after the origin of the brachial artery from the posterior median aspect. And what happens is this profunda brachiae, it passes along with the radial nerve to enter into the lower triangular space and then into the radial groove. The next branch is the nutrient artery. So nutrient artery enters the nutrient foramen, which is located near to the insertion of the coracobrachialis. This nutrient foramen is directed downwards because the growing end of humerus is the upper end. So the direction of nutrient foramen is always against or opposite to the direction of the growing end of the bone corresponding. So here in this case, the upper end of humerus is the growing end, so the nutrient foramen is directed downwards. Next branch is the superior ulnar collateral artery. Superior ulnar collateral artery. This arises just distal to the middle of the arm. You can see here it pierces the medial intermuscular septum and along with the ulnar nerve, and it goes into the posterior compartment. The next artery is the inferior ulnar collateral artery. Artery is also known as supratrochlear artery, and it divides into anterior and posterior branches. The next set of branches is the muscular branches. The muscular branches supply all the flexor muscles of the arm. So the main branches are profunda brachiae, nutrient artery, superior ulnar collateral artery, inferior ulnar collateral artery, and the muscular branches. And don't forget about the terminal two branches. They are the radial and the ulnar arteries. Now we'll see what is the surface marking of the brachial artery. So always, whenever you are mentioning about an artery, you have to know what is the surface marking. So how we will identify the surface marking? So with the arm abducted to 90 degree and with the palm facing upwards, you can mark 2 points. That is, the one first point is the mid-clavicular point, and the second point is 1 centimeter below a line joining the two epicondyles. So that means when the palm is facing upwards with arm abducted to 90 degree, you have to mark 2 points. That is, the one is the mid-clavicular point, and the second point is 1 centimeter below a line connecting the two epicondyles of humerus. And then the lower two-third of that line, the line connecting these 2 points, the lower two-third represents your brachial artery, whereas the upper one-third represents your axillary artery. So that is the surface marking of the brachial artery. Now we'll see what is the clinical importance of the brachial artery. So the main one, you all know that to record the blood pressure, you tie the cuff around the arm. The diaphragm of the stethoscope is placed onto the brachial artery in the cubital fossa, and you can record the blood pressure. And also you can take the brachial pulse. That is, you can feel when you are flexing the elbow, you can feel the tendon of biceps. Just medial to that, you can feel for the brachial pulsation. Another important applied aspect is the supracondylar fracture of humerus. So here, the fracture occurs just above the condyles of the humerus. So if suppose the fracture is occurring in this region, the proximal segment of the humerus pushes the brachial artery and it will compress the brachial artery. That will lead to loss of blood supply to the muscles of the flexor muscles of the arm. And if the blood supply is completely lost, that can lead to 5 P's. 5 P's, they are pain, pallor, puffiness, pulselessness, and paralysis. So there will be severe pain. Then since there is no blood supply, there will be pallor, then there will be puffiness around the area, pulse cannot be felt, and then that can lead to paralysis. And in severe cases, it can lead to necrosis and contracture of the flexor muscles. So there will be flexor contracture of the metacarpophalangeal joints and the interphalangeal joints, and that is referred to as Volkmann's ischemic contracture. Now, another one that you have to remember is brachial artery aneurysm. So we have discussed in the popliteal fossa that popliteal artery aneurysm can occur. Similarly, brachial artery aneurysm can occur. Aneurysm means dilatation of the blood vessel. So the vessel wall is dilated. So due to any stress or pressure, it can rupture, can lead to severe bleeding. This is not so common, but it can occur in brachial artery also. And the last one is AV fistula. That is arteriovenous fistula. Usually the cephalic vein and the radial artery are taken for AV fistula. AV fistula is done in renal failure patients for the hemodialysis. But also we can do by connecting the brachial artery and the cephalic vein in the cubital fossa, and also brachial artery and the basic vein in the arm. So that's all about the brachial artery. We have discussed in detail about the brachial artery. I hope you have understood this topic very well. If you haven't subscribed this channel, please do subscribe. Please press the bell icon to get more notifications. Thank you.